It's gonna be interesting.
Hi, I'm Howard Martin, and I am one of the board members at the Coleman Heritage and Arts Preservation Society here in Coleman, Texas. Today we're interviewing John Langley. He is the creator of the Western Film Festival, and we're going to learn a little bit more about that as we go here. So, thanks for being here, John.
Thanks for having me.
So, can you tell me, how did this get started for you?
Well, I was in college and we were doing a short film, and that's when I realized that I really enjoyed filmmaking. And I got out of college during COVID, and a friend of mine, Jason Watson, he called me and said, "Hey, we're making a film. Will you be a part of it?" And it was just a small role. I didn't even talk. And afterwards, I told him, anything, let me know, because I'd like to work on this kind of stuff. And he said, "Well, my brother's editing it. You can go to his house and help him edit." I said, okay, so I went and I knocked on the door, and his brother Jeremy Watson opened the door, and Jeremy just looked defeated. He was, and I said, "How you doing?" And he goes, "I spent 3 hours working on the first 2 minutes of this film." Well, that sucks, you know? And I ended up editing the whole thing, and Jason got another film that was selected to play at Billy the Kid Film Festival. And so since we just finished that one, he asked me if I wanted to go, and I went. And I was sitting there kind of looking around the building, and I thought, we could do this. It'd be pretty cool doing Coleman. And came back, and that's how the idea came about.
Awesome. Who are the founding members here?
So it was me and Greg Palmer, the former president of C.H.A.P.S. I came back from HICO, and I sent a message to C.H.A.P.S Facebook page, which at the time it was just the Coleman Museum. And I got a response back that said, "Call this number, talk to Greg Palmer." And I called him, and we discussed doing a film festival. And Greg was all on board with it. And I'd never met Greg. I didn't know what Greg looked like or anything. And I thought, I'm gonna go take the tour of the museum. I hadn't taken it since they moved to this building. And Greg didn't know me, I didn't know Greg. Greg took me on the tour, and he was given the tour, and he said, "Oh, and by the way, we're gonna have a film festival here in April." And I said, "Yeah, I know, that's me." And he lit up, and, "Oh, you know." We sat back off over there, and we came up with the name, The Western, and that's how it kind of founding started, me and Greg.
Right.
Brainstorming and just figuring out the dates and the times and butting heads about what should and shouldn't be done. And
Sure. So I guess there were a bunch of challenges that first year.
that first year was, oddly enough, that was the easiest year, I think.
No, really.
Because you don't know what you're doing, and you're just kind of winging it, and you're doing everything that you think is right. You're not second guessing anything. Like, we need ads, we need a band, we need this, we need that, and then you get all of it the first year, and you go, "Oh, we didn't need that. You know, we didn't need this, we needed that." And so the second year comes around, and what do we need to do? We need to get this. No, that didn't work last time, you know. And but you know, it was the worry for me, and I think Greg too. Which, for anybody that knew Greg, he didn't always talk a lot, so it was hard to know what he was really thinking. But the big worry was, will anybody show up? You know, and we started getting submissions. I think that first year we had 70 submissions. And for just a podunk first year, no name town, you know. And yeah, so I mean, that was the challenge of how do you get people in the door? How do you make sure it's the best it can be? I went and had lunch with a kid I went to school with named Nathaniel Guerrero, and he got on board with it after me and Greg kind of got it rolling. Anybody that came would hear me talk about the man behind the curtain, and that was Nathaniel. He sat up in the top there, making sure everything flowed smoothly.
Cool.
He had probably the most stressful job. Something glitch, you know, and he'd have to hurry up and fix it. And, yeah, so that was.
So the first year you had like 70 submissions. About how many did you show that first year?
32, I believe.
32 of them.
Mm-hmm.